respected teachers, and the audience. It's a great honor and opportunity for me to speak at this truly memorable occasion. To be honest, it feels really good to be standing here in front of all of you in this grand ceremonial evening. Friends, as you all know that the topic given for this program is a brief introduction of Islam. So, I would like to shed some light on some comparatively unknown and unexplored aspects of Islam, since the common ones are already known. Let me begin by bringing to your notice that every religion of the world has been named either after its founder or after the community or nation in which it was born. For example, Christianity takes its name from its prophet Jesus Christ, Buddhism from its founder Gautam Buddha, Zoroastrianism from its founder Zoroaster, and Judaism, the religion of the Jews, from the name of tribe Judah, in which it originated. The same is true to all other religions except Islam, which enjoys the unique distinction of having no such association with any particular person or people or country. Nor is it the product of any human mind. The question arises here, if it is not named after a particular personality or community, then from where did this name come? And what does it mean? The answer is, the original founder of Islam is no other than God Himself. And no other than God Himself, and the date of founding Islam, and the date of founding this name of the age of Prophet Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, the first prophet of Islam. And God Himself has chosen this beautiful and meaningful name for this divine religion. So He says in the Holy Quran, chapter number 3, verse number 19, Inna ad-deena inda Allahi al-Islam. Indeed, the only religion in the sight of Allah is Islam. The word Islam means peace and tranquility. It also means to surrender. In the religious terminology, Islam means an individual surrender of his body, soul, energy and faculties, indeed his complete life, to his Creator Allah. In other words, he should not take anything in this world as his own, but a trust of Allah. This is the conceptual foundation of Islam. Dear friends, the another unique feature of Islam which I want to highlight here is that it is not a set of religious rituals of few forms of worshipping God, as in the case with some other religions in the world. On the contrary, it covers all aspects of human life. It is a complete and comprehensive system for mankind. It provides guidance and instructions and laws for all human practices. Allah is the sole sovereign and master of all universe, and everything returns to Him. The easygoing notion that give to God what is for God, and to Caesar what is for Caesar is not valid in Islam. According to Islam, everything belongs to Allah, including Caesar. Now, I would like to round off my talk by mentioning a very special characteristic of Islam, which runs through all its teachings and traditions, and which makes it stand apart from all other religions. That is, its balanced view towards everything that it touches upon. The Muslim society is described in Holy Quran as Ummatun Wasata. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. And thus, we have made you a middle nation to be witnesses over mankind. That is a unified society that adopts a middle course, not diverging in extremes. Therefore, the teachings of Islam recommend balance in all the aspects of life. Here I wind up my speech.